Welcome to Seeing with Your Soul, a safe and sacred place to be vulnerable, to be transparent, to be authentic. I am your host, Tisha Michelle. From the deep pain and loss of my best friend Gloria, I realized she gave me the greatest gift ever, remembering my purpose in life, which is to help connect you to your authentic self, guide you to remember your purpose, and remind you that your current circumstance doesn't define who you are. Join me as we heal, align, and glow together. Hey everyone, welcome back to Seeing with Your Soul. I'm your host, Tisha Michelle. So, as you can tell, I probably sound a whole lot better. Only been a week. However, I feel so much better than last week recovering from my surgery. So I'll jump right into what it is that I am grateful for. I am grateful for some damn sleep, right? So I had the surgery on the 27th of August. So we had every night that I slept, I got up, kid you not, dead ass, every hour. Just stupid, just getting up, looking crazy, right? But mainly because I had to use the bathroom. And I was like, shit, do I got a damn bladder infection on top of this foolishness? And you know me, if you've listened to me for a while, you've heard me talk about, everything that's external is a manifestation on the internal. And there's a metaphysical aspect of that. And I do know that if you have like a UTI, that really relates to holding on to things and having a hard time letting go. So if you've ever experienced a UTI, and I know there's different forms of them, but you'll feel like you always got to go to the bathroom. And then when you go to the bathroom, like not much comes out, right? It'll just be like a drip or a couple of drips. You'd be like, what the fuck? I felt all of that shit for nothing to come out. So that's the metaphysical part is that, holding on so tight to something and not really wanting to let go. So I was like, oh, hell no. Nah. We're not going to be doing this. So, but every hour, just either from having to use the bathroom or just being uncomfortable because I can't sleep the way that I want to sleep. And I'm not really even sure which way it is that I actually really like to sleep in the bed, but just the fact that shit was altered, whatever way it was that I can't sleep, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly how I sleep. So I was getting up every hour and just not feeling the greatness, and then the night of the full moon, which it was September 2nd. I'm acting like it was long ago. It was like a long time ago. It was like 2 days ago as I'm recording this. But anyway, so like September 2nd or September 1st, that night going into the 2nd was the full moon. So I believe on the East Coast, it was like 1:22 a.m. is like the real peak of it. Anyhow, I went to sleep that night around the last time I looked at the clock, it was a little after 11. I dead ass did not wake up until 6 a.m. I was like, what? I was like, did I not wake up at all? Like, I just slept. So I was so hype about that. Now, earlier that, the day before or whatever, I'd started my journaling. So whenever we're having a full moon or we're having a new moon, and since we're having full moon, it was all around releasing, right? So I did a lot of journaling. If you follow me on social media, you see I posted a couple of prompts. I actually used those prompts in my journal. And I was just writing a lot of stuff, doing a lot of just random journaling. I burned some sage. I sat and meditated. I did a lot of just like cleansing. And it makes sense that I slept, right? Also, the next day, I didn't have any sessions. I had nothing booked, no one to do. So I believe that also helped because like the night before when I have if I know I have sessions that next day, it is with me. The energy is with me. People's spirit guides are like already lashing on and connecting to me. So it just gives me like a lot of like energy. So that's constantly like on my mind. So I didn't have any and I knew. So I was like, love you guys. Nothing against you guys. But I was just like, whew. So I slept. So I'm so grateful for sleep. So grateful. I felt so much better that day. And since then, which has only been 2 days, I did not sleep all the way through like that. And I'm like, this is stupid. So I'm like hella like grateful for just the sleep. It played a big, big, big difference into how it is that I felt just being able to get that, get that sleep. So that is what I'm grateful for in this present moment, is that those hours of sleep I got. It really, really, really helped a lot. Now it's your turn, because I've just been rambling already and haven't even really started this podcast. But anyway, unless you guys are driving, you already know what to do. Go ahead and close your eyes. Let's center ourselves. Let's take some nice deep breaths, and we're just going to breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth. We're going to take another deep breath in through our nose, out through our mouth. One more, guys. A nice long deep breath in through our nose. Don't you just feel good? Seriously, no bullshit. It's so simple, but yet so freaking powerful. Just take some deep breaths. You know what? It'd be so funny. We're going to get to your gratitude in a second, I promise. People who are smokers, right? I love to ask them. I'd be like, so what about it, that you enjoy with smoking? And everyone that I've asked before, or even just mention it on their own, they'll say something like, it just relaxes me, and they'll just doing the movement, and they're like, it just relaxes me. And I'm like, well, it's nicotine. So not to be funny and not to be judgmental or anything, but nicotine just can't relax you. It's the deep breathing. And if you're a smoker, or someone that's smoking, they're breathing in and then they're breathing out, right? So they think that it's the cigarette that is doing it, but it's not. It's not. It's the deep breathing. That's what's relaxing you. That's what's relaxing them. So just taking deep breaths are so, so powerful. I have a couple of clients of mine that, I was randomly send them a text message, and I'll be like, take 3 deep breaths right now. Right. And they're so appreciative of that, because it's getting that reminder, right? And sometimes we just need that reminder to just center ourselves and just take a nice deep breath, right? It helps so much. So, in this present moment, what are you guys grateful for? Write it down, say it out loud, say it in your head, whatever. Just express your gratitude. Put it out there. Dig deep. Matter of fact, you don't even have to dig deep. Do whatever it is that you want, but just express some gratitude, because we just want to all just raise our vibration, right? Shift our mood, shift our energy, attract more into our life, and understand how grateful we really actually are, and how much we actually have, and not really focusing on the negative, the things that we perceive to be negative, right? So now that we got that out of the way, which is very, very powerful, by the way. So as I actually was just sitting here, and I was like, I need to record a podcast. And then I'm like, what I'm talking about? And Spirit was like, just let it flow. I was like, what? Let it flow? What? Just get in here and just start rambling? And, I ended up taking a couple of deep breaths, and I was like, okay, all right, I got this. So I want to talk to you guys about a couple of different things, right? Just a couple of different things. And first, I want to start off with, man, we are so fucking protected. You are so fucking protected. I'm so protected, right? And we get so much guidance, right? And I know some of you recognize it, some of you see it. If you don't, and you just feel like you're just so super confused and everything, I promise you, man. I promise you, if you just take some deep breaths and just put it out to the universe, just say, open my eyes, please allow me to see what I am not seeing, because I need some damn guidance, right? So I had to somebody wanted me to, it's a mini session. I'll do it for a couple, there's a couple people. They just they want me to pull some cards for them. They're visual, so they like to see that aspect of it. And that's cool. It's not something I offer to everyone, but, there's a couple slide in every now and then. So, I did that. And then I was done. And then I was like, somebody said, pull a card and ask this particular question. I'm like, why? First of all, I'm tired. I don't even want to really pull a card for myself. I don't need to. But I was like, okay, I listened to that voice. So I shuffled a card, and I asked this question. It's the same question, but it's about 2 different locations. And first I was just kind of figure out, I was like, all right. So this is a little tip for you guys. And it may sound like I'm all over the place. And guess what? I am all over the place. So just flow with me, guys, because I'm just going to flow, right? Might have a whole bunch of side things, but I promise I'll bring it back, right? So anyway, I was already kind of I don't know what to do. Should I do this? Should I do that? Right? So again, going back to the tip, when we are seeking clarity on something, the best thing to do is to just take action, do something, right? Even when it comes to like our purpose and stuff, right? That comes from us taking action by doing something, right? We just do something and we trust that we're going to be guided, we're going to be detoured, it's going to lead us to somewhere else. It's just by taking action. That's it. Take some type of action. And this is where you're like, oh man, I don't like that shit. Oh, wow. I didn't think about it like this. Like, take action. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take some action. And I got into that mode, mind you, like I'm still in this healing process, but guys, I've been resting. I've been chilling. I even took time off from doing sessions and stuff, but I can't just be just there. Like, whew. Anyway, so I was like, all right, I got to take action. So there's something I was looking to do, and I'm doing it in Arizona, but I wanted to do it in Richmond, in Virginia. So I wasn't really sure if the reason why I also wanted to launch this and have this in Richmond is just because I'm here in Virginia. And I'm falling back into the comfort zone of like, it's Richmond. Like, I know Richmond inside out. I've been here like my whole life, right? So anyhow, I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm doing it. Let me get everything, lay it down. So I get onto the website so I can make everything legal for Richmond as well. And I'm having a hard time. Like, I keep trying it and it's kicking me out. It's doing all this stupidness. I'm like, what is going on? I was like, whatever. So finally I get it straight. Pay my little fee. Submit the thing. All right, so that's checked off. So the next day, which was, as I'm recording this, was yesterday. Last night, I did the cards for the person. So then I asked the question and I said, what do I need to know about Arizona? And it's for the particular thing. And I pulled this card and I was like, I don't really know how that relates. And I was so tired. Guys, I wasn't even trying to even make it make sense. I didn't even care. So then I said, well, what do I need to know about the Virginia location? And I pulled the card that said, it's not the right time. What? That kind of woke me up a little bit, right? And I was like, what? Interesting. So I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to sit here and go back. I'm really tired. So I was done. So anyway, this morning, I get an email from the state people or whatever, and they rejected my application. And I started laughing. I was like, oh. Okay, so first of all, I was on the website and I was having a hard time. So when we take action onto something and we seem to be having like a hard time and it's like, what is going on? That is also our guides protecting us. Just saying, no, not that way. Let me just alter this a little bit. Not that way, right? But what do we end up doing? We end up like pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And then finally you'll get through and then you'll be like, fuck, I should have never did that, right? So that happened, but I just kind of pushed through and I was like, oh, maybe it is just a technical thing, but it just kept happening. And I was like, whatever. So then the application got rejected and I was like, dang, that's awkward. But it was just one thing that I needed to send them, right? But the problem with it was I needed to send it to them, a copy of it in a PDF form, right? And I knew this before it got rejected. But it wouldn't let me, for some reason, I kept trying to save it, because I'm using my phone, as a PDF, but it wouldn't. So I uploaded something else, but that wasn't acceptable. So I knew that I was going to need that, but I'm like, why can I save this as a PDF? The shit is useless, but I can't save the other thing as a PDF. So I took a screenshot of it and it was like, nah, you ain't submitting this. It needs to be a PDF. So I was like, maybe I'll get away with it on there. So that was the second thing that was stopping me. So then I sent that. Well, they rejected it because they needed the other thing that I said, and I needed to have a PDF of it. So I called the people and I said, hey, this application was, well, first of all, when I got the rejection, I laughed because I thought about the card that I pulled that said not the right time, or not, it's not the right time. So I called the people and I said, hey, I got a rejection. I just need to know, how do I submit this? Who do I send this to? She's like, oh, you just need to send this, the PDF version of it to, she gave me the email address. And then she goes, before we got off, she goes, oh, what's your email address? I give her my email address. She's like, I'll send you what it is that it looks like. It'll be the requirements for all the states. Just choose your state, which in that case, I would have to click on Arizona because I'm trying to now do this in Virginia. So like, click on your state and it'll show you what we're looking for. So in my mind, because Tisha knows everything, duh, I'm like, you're wasting your time sending me this email. You know, I'll entertain you because I already know what you're looking for. Like, duh. So I was like, let me just entertain her. So we get off the phone and I click on the Arizona and I look at what she wants. And then I go look at what I thought that I was like, oh, awkward. That's actually not it. And then I started looking through and I said, whoa, I actually don't even have what they're asking me for. Shit. And I was like, okay, all right. So I called back and I was like, yeah, so I don't even have that. And I won't be back in Arizona for a couple weeks. So, just give me a refund of my $100. So then I was sitting there thinking, I was like, damn, man, we just be so protected. And all that comes from taking action. It all comes from taking action, right? So if you're seeking clarity, you're not really sure which way, like, man, should I move this way or should I move that way? Like, what should I do? Just do something. Just do something. Your guides are going to have your back, right? But as we get into this phase where we just want to control everything. And that's what I was doing. I was meeting the resistance on the site, right? And all I had to do was just trust that, like, okay, first of all, why is this not working? This is stupid. You done tried it so many times. Like, you already know when now you're being guided to not move forward with that. So even though I was taking action, it's okay that I'm being stopped and I'm being curved, I'm being redirected. That's fine. That's all fine and dandy. That helps you so you can get that clarity. It's like, okay, so I'm being, trusted that this is right in this moment or whatever. This is not for my highest good. So then I can just X that out and then just move on, right? So I was getting all the stuff that was there. That was to say, like, nah, this isn't the right timing, and it's good that you're taking action because now you can just release that. So for whatever reason, I don't know why it's not the right timing. At this point, I don't even care, but thank you for like looking out, even though I was trying to control the whole thing, right? So it really just comes into taking the action. So I tell people all the time, you'll never go down the wrong path. You'll never make the wrong decision. All of it is an experience. And whatever path you end up going down, it's going to lead you to where you were actually meant to be, which is for you, wherever it is for your highest good. All the paths just have different lessons along the way. And sometimes those damn lessons will be painful, but you'll get redirected, right? So definitely wanted to share that with you guys just to say, take some action, right? And just know that you're being guided and know that you're being protected, and don't always maybe like look at things as like, why is this like happening? Like, why can't I get this done? First of all, those are disempowering questions, right? You ask a disempowering question, you get a disempowering response back. The universe is like, oh, so you like that. All right, let me give you a little more. There you go. Take that, right? Because we don't judge over here. Free will we have. So yeah. So I was just tripping off of that. I'm like, I'm always guided. I'm always protected. I just need to just do something. That's it. Point blank, period. Do something. So another thing I want to talk about is how so many of us allow the world to put us in a container, right? I used to always say, stop saying that shit. There is no box. There's no fucking box. Stop trying to put me in a box, right? Because there is no box. And then I just had to realize, I was like, I actually am in a box, right? I am in a box. Like, damn, world keep trying to put us in containers and stuff, right? And it's so uncomfortable. So someone reached out to me about, like a friend of mine reached out to me about their podcast and just sent me like a preview of the intro and was like, hey, like, what do you think? So I listened to it and I was like, oh, this is dope, right? Because the intro, and I responded, I was like, oh, this is dope. Something like that. I was like, this is dope. I said, you're really like, I know what this is about. Like, I know what it's about. I know what you're who you are. And I know when I say who you are, meaning like what you gave. And then what's this going to be about? Like, if I'm going to listen to this podcast, I know what it's about. So it was good. So then they responded back and was like, thank you. But then they said, do you think it's too long? Should I shorten it? So I was like, so I just want to remind you that this is your podcast. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do. There's no standards on it. There's only standards because people created it as a standard. Oh, and I'm making this up because I don't know what that is. The podcast intro should be 30 seconds and then the outro should be this and it should be have this and it should be. In actuality, and this is nothing to anybody else, it could be whatever the fuck you want it to be. You're not breaking a law. So you can have it as long as you want it to be. You can have it as short as you want it to be. You can have it cover whatever energy, and wording, whatever you want it to be, because you get to do whatever the fuck you want to do. And they responded back and was like, you know what? Thank you so much for the reminder. And I'm like, yeah, we all need that. We can do whatever it is that we want to do. There's only standards because in this whole patriarchic world that was created, the structures to keep our asses in line down to everything. It needs to be this, this, and this. And it's like, what the fuck? But what if I can't fit my intro into 30 seconds and I want my intro to be more, and I'm just using that as an example because that was the most recent thing. But, there ends up being these standards, but I'm like, are we breaking a law? Am I going to get in trouble? Am I going to go to jail because I didn't stay in this container the way that, the world says that we have to be, right? So I started even thinking about that with this podcast. Sometimes I'm like, okay, so I don't plan, my podcast of like, list it out. Like, I'm not even going to lie. Like, I wish I could just sit there and just bang out mad podcasts, right? Just take a day and just be like, fuck it. I'm just going to do all these podcasts and it's boom. And then upload them and I'll be like, hey, y'all, I got my shit in mad early. You got the next 4 weeks of topics and stuff. But unfortunately, that's not me, right? So it's kind of like when it hits me and I'll just be like, okay, so what do I want to talk about, right? What should I talk about? And then there's that part where I start to slide and I get into a little container and I'm like, well, I don't really know. What do I call this? Like, because I'm going to talk about more than one thing. Well, no, I really should, niche it down. I really should. And I said, whoa, Tisha, here you go, putting your own damn self in some fucking container. And it's like, no, you do whatever the hell you want to do. So just like today where it was like, just let it flow. Just let it flow. And I was like, okay. You know what I mean? Because that's what it's really about. That's what life is all about, is for us to allow things to just flow. Allow things to just flow. Do not let anyone put you in a container, because from the time we were born, that's what the world did. Put us in a container. Here's the rules and the regulations. And then we have the laws, right? And then we have the stuff, I talked about it before, where it was like, don't wear white after labor. Like, what the fuck? Lord child, they is crazy out here in these streets. But it's this thing. And I don't know about you guys, but I be feeling like I can't breathe. Like, I be feeling like I can't breathe. And sometimes I be catching myself. I'm like, yo, I'm in a container and I got to get out this shit. This is dumb. This is dumb. Especially when people ask me, so what do you do? Oh my gosh. I struggled for the longest of saying, what do I say? I don't know. I mean, and then I've even caught myself in the beginning. I'll be like, I don't know. I guess if I want to put it into some type of context like that you would just understand, I'd be like, I'm a coach. I'm a life coach. Oh, I don't even like the title coach. But here I am putting myself into this container to make it make sense to people, where I'm now dumbing it down and struggling. And then it was also like, I don't really like when people say like, what do you do? Because again, I feel like it's putting me into a container. Because now you're looking at it like as if that's what's defining me. So if like, oh, I'm a hypnotist, I do energy readings, right? Okay. So now when I switch it up and now I'm on some mediumship and I'm talking to your dead loved ones, you're like, what? I didn't know you did that. Oh, what? Oh, I thought you did. Da, da, da. Yeah, because then it starts to like define you, and it would just really struggles. I would struggle so much to even say what it is that I do. Because I'm like, I do a lot, and I expect that I'm going to be doing a lot more. Because guess what, guys? As you continue to heal yourself, another one of your gifts emerge, right? And I'm doing some work, because I ain't even going to lie. I'm a little bored with my gifts and stuff, and I'm ready to level the fuck up. And I'm ready. My spirit guides already told me that. They was like, you can go a lot deeper. First, I was scared of it because of the responsibility. Now I'm like, bring it on. Bring it on, because, yeah, I'm a little bored. Let's tap into some other gifts. But in order to even do that, you need to really heal other parts of yourselves. And this is where you'll start to see like your gifts and things will start to emerge. So that's been coming up a lot for me lately, is just this whole container thing, and just, reminding people, like when people ask me, they say, do you think I should do this? And I'll just be like, do whatever you want to do. They're like, no. And like, the thing is, because we've been brainwashed and programmed so much from the time we were born, that we're seeking this validation from someone, that I'm like, really, no, that's the answer. Do whatever you want to do. If that's what you want to wear it. If that's what you want to say, if you want to do that video like that, do it. You want to change your haircut, whatever it is, just do whatever it is that you want to do. Right. And don't worry about being in a container, because for some of you guys, first of all, we're all meant to, okay, let me back up. Everyone's purpose is to heal. That is the very first thing. Everyone's purpose here in this carnation is to heal themselves first. That is what that is. As you are healing yourself and the different parts of you, gifts and things, other gifts and things will emerge. And this is where you get into, like, for me, I know that my purpose, and I have many purposes, but my main purpose is to connect people to their truth, right? And remind them who the fuck they are. But in order for me to do that, I had to connect to my truth. And how did I start to connect to my truth? I started that healing process, right? How did I start that healing process? I had to understand that, whoa, something's a little off right now. Nothing's wrong with me, just like nothing's wrong with you. But I'm starting to recognize some patterns. Some shit is looking a little fishy right now. And then you start that process, right? You start that process. So, I just want to tell you guys that. I'm over here tripping. Speaking of healing, I talked about it, I think, on the last one. Like, I literally have been thugging out this pain that I have been having. Because I'm not taking nobody's damn Percocets. Like, no, I'm gonna feel this shit because I need to heal it. And I need to know when I'm actually feeling better. So when people are like, hey, like, how are you doing? Are you feeling any better? Like, I can be honest and be like, yeah, I am. Because you know what? I know how it is because I'm not all, I was going to say doped up. I'm not all on some medicine. And I'm just like, oh, I'm in la la land. I remember telling someone, I was like, I don't like taking pain medicines because I don't like to not feel like myself. And they were like, give me some. I don't want to feel like myself. And I was getting ready to like start counseling and giving them some therapy and shit. But I was like, nope, not today. But anyhow, so bottom line with that part is get out the container. Recognize that there's no real container. There's no real box. It's an imaginary. It was put into you. So just get rid of it. Get rid of it. Get rid of that thought and that whole thing and do whatever the hell you want to do. Right. So another thing that was coming up for me lately, oh my God, especially with this full moon, oh my God, guys, I've been going crazy. Is like, I have this blessing, and it's a blessing and it's a curse at the same damn time. And I've always known this. It's just a lot deeper now that I'm a little more aware, is I have this strong need to fix everything. I gotta fix everything. And I remember one time I had an Akashic reading record done. My spirit guides told me that I have the ability to access people's Akashic records and do that. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm not ready for that. I ain't trying to sign up for that. And then my friends that do know, they're like, oh my God, you need to like tap into that. And I'm like, whenever the divine timing, right? But anyway, so Akashic records is just our records of all of our incarnations, everything. And our Akashic records is actually stored in our hearts. It's within us. Remember, everything that we need is within us already. And we have people who that's their gift, and their gift is to be able to guide you and to be able to help you tap in and open your Akashic records. It is fucking amazing. And for people who be like on that, oh, that's woo-woo. Yeah, this would be woo-woo to like fifth power. But I highly recommend like all of you guys get an Akashic reading done. Like that shit'll blow your mind. It'll help make so much sense of your life. And especially if you believe in past lives and really kind of understand a lot of that stuff. If that is something that you guys want more information on, I could definitely hook you up with my person. Just send me a message, email, or Instagram at Mindset Slayer, and I will send you the link to her. She's amazing. She is amazing. It's something you do over the phone. She's like in Cali. I'd be tripping when I have a session with her. I'd be like, oh my God, Michelle. I'm like, are you even real? Like, are you real? You're so sweet and so powerful. I'm like, what if I'm really just talking to myself? That's a whole other podcast because that's a whole mind-blowing thing. But anyway, yeah, so like, just, tapping into the whole Akashic records. One of the things that she said to me that came through was like, your guides are saying, be very, very mindful of you giving unsolicited advice. Don't be talking to me like that. And I was like, what? And I'm like, you know what? And when they went a little bit deeper, I was like, I do that. And I do that because I feel like I need to fix everything and I need to solve everything. Even when people aren't even asking for that, it's like, one, I feel like I need to fix it. And that's been coming up so much for me lately, especially these past few days. And I was like, okay, why do I feel the need to fix everything? So I had to do some reflecting. I had to go within. What's unhealed within me that I feel like I have to fix everything for everyone else, right? And I want to let you guys know, and I'm saying this to myself, that it is okay to feel, right? It is okay to have empathy. It is okay to feel, bad or feel upset for someone else. However, we do not have to fix it. So I had to keep telling myself, it's okay to feel, but I don't have to fix, right? So if you can even relate to what it is that I am saying, just understand that we are not meant to fix everything for everybody. That don't even make any sense. It doesn't even make any sense, right? We'll know when we're meant to say a certain thing or a certain, but when we just feel like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do, or you said this, oh, let me look it up for you. Well, let me give you this, let me give you that. Like, it's just like so forced, right? That's when you really want to do some reflecting and just see what's unhealed within me, that I feel the need that I have to fix everything for everyone else. And to tie into that, I've noticed this downtime, which is what I was actually looking forward to. I was actually really excited, guys. I was really excited to have the surgery, not the surgery itself, but the downtime, because I was like, I know I'm going to be forced to do some reflecting, right? And one strong thing that I came up was that I and some of you guys, you've worked with me before, and I'm always telling you this, so I need to practice what I damn, preach. But we teach what we most need to learn. And I'm always telling everybody, you're the most important person in your life. You come before everyone, even your children. And I am a mother of 4, but because we have to care for ourselves in order to care for other people, right? And what I noticed was that I'm doing more for other people than myself, right? I'm so vested into helping people in their healing process, in their journey, that it's almost like I'm learning their lessons for them. And I said, oh, hell no. This is why it's so heavy. This is what this is. And I was like, wow, but that was coming from just this down and reflecting. And it made all the sense in the world leading up to the full moon, because it was about releasing, right? And it was about those strong things that are going to be coming up for you so you can release them. You got to acknowledge it. You got to do a little work through it. You got to love on it, all that good stuff, right? And I was like, wow. And I realized that I've done a lot of healing, but healing isn't linear. It's not a straight line. It's not a one size fits all. It is going to be a lifelong process. As long as you are incarnated here, that is your main purpose, which is to heal, right? So there's going to be different things that's going to come up as you go on. You're going to heal one thing, and then you're going to be going through, and then something's going to pop up, and you're going to be like, what? Where'd this shit come from? Wow. I had that shit buried so far deep. And we're constantly healing because we're evolving and we're growing and we're learning these lessons by having these experiences, right? So this is what it was all about. It was about just releasing. So then I had to really look at it and be honest with myself, and was like, it's time for me to really go deep. I've healed some things. I've learned a lot, but I ain't nowhere near finished. And I'm spending a lot of time on a lot of other people, which I love what it is that I do. But Spirit was like, it's some shit some stuff you gotta tackle right now. So I'm gonna keep allowing it to keep coming up. And it was very strong. And I was like, wow, I'm putting a lot of other people's needs before mine. But I just love to fix everything, right? Like, I just love to fix everything. Again, that also comes from something that I was really afraid of, responsibility, because I've been on my own from a young age. I mean, shit, I was pregnant at 16, but even from before then, it was just being that person who, didn't have her dad in her life. Mom had some things, so I was raised by my grandmother, so it's still kind of feeling like you're doing your own thing at a early age. And that's also where the being an empath comes from too, as well. Being, going through whatever you go through as a child, and you're having that coping mechanism that when you're an empath, you can walk into the room and you can read the room, but you can pick up the person who has I would say the lowest vibration and the most trauma and fears and wounds, right? Because you've already been trained really, to that from when you were a child, through different experiences, picking up on that energy, right? So it's just natural now for me that I need to fix things, because I've been on my own at an early age and doing everything for myself and just taking care of stuff. So it's like, oh, I got to fix this. I got to do all of that. And I really don't have to do shit. So that was coming up really a lot for me. So, I don't know about you guys, but if you've been like, yo, it's so much been coming up and it's been feeling heavy. We had a full moon, which is all around releasing. And 2020 is just, doing this thing. But a lot of that stuff is coming up for us for a reason. Acknowledge it. Don't try to suppress it. Don't try to just act like it's not there. Acknowledge it. Let's just move past that portion, right? Move past that portion. So, that was a big thing for me. Yeah. So I do want to add, and I'll probably will do a separate podcast at some point to really go deeper into this, but I'm going to go ahead and just wrap this up in a few. But I wanted to ask you guys a question. So what is something that you've always wanted to do, right? That always came up for me. So what's something that you've always wanted to do? So people who are close to me will know the one thing, it's not that many people, but that they know that I've always wanted to do was own a group home for pregnant teens. I have such a soft spot in my heart when it comes to pregnant teens. Maybe because I was one. I think it goes a little deeper than that though. But I've always wanted to do that. Always, always, always. Then there was this one point where I looked into it and I was like, I'm going to get a group home. But then they were like, before the government, you can get that assistance in there to help pay for the space. You have to be able to have the funds to pay for the house that you're going to have and everything for 3 months before they can give it. And I wasn't in a position to do that on top of paying where I lived and taking care of my family. And one of my friends, one of my homeboys, I told him about what I wanted to do. And he was good for investing and stuff, but he was like, he wants to have 50%, be 50% ownership. And I was like, hell nah, bruh. We cool, but I'm just not doing that, right? I don't want to do that. So that never happened, but it's always something that I've wanted to do. And, I've launched started my nonprofit. And I was sitting there, I was like, I really need to narrow this down. There's so much that I want to do. I want to go in the jails, right? I want to bring inner healing, healing the inner child to people in the jails, right? And want to work with Teen Month Stuff. So it hit me when I was talking to someone and I said, I'm bugging. I'm trying to make up stuff. I've got all these ideas and everything is great because the little spirit being is like, here's this idea, I ain't got to do all of them, but I'm like, oh my God, I want to do all of them and I don't do none of them, right? And it's like, yo, what's the thing you always wanted to do? I've always wanted to open a group home. But in my mind, it was a home where they're in, right? And they're staying there. So because I wasn't able to do that, I never moved forward with anything else. But when I step back and I really look at it, I can visualize myself sitting in a circle with all these teen moms, whether they've already had the baby or they're pregnant now, and just having talk therapy, having conversations, giving them that safe, sacred space to just be vulnerable, to be transparent, and then just giving that intuitiveness to them and helping them to see that their current circumstance doesn't define who they are. You got, statistics. What is it? Statistics? Statistics say that if you are a teen mom, you don't finish, high school. Well, that's true for me. First of all, I was never interviewed. I've never been in no stats, so I wonder where they get them from. But I did drop out of high school and I got my GED. But when I really get to nitty gritty, I didn't drop out because I was pregnant. I dropped out because I had got behind and they put me in a different English class. And if you guys remember, when you were in high school, your English class determines your grade level. So I was supposed to be in 11th, but I was in 10th grade English with my people's fucking little brothers and shit. And it's a lot, it's by a year. And I didn't like that. And that made me feel uncomfortable because I didn't want to be in a 10th grade English with them. So I was like, fuck it, I'm dropping out of school and I'm going to go get my GED. That is why. Not because I was pregnant. It wasn't because I was pregnant. It was because I wasn't doing my shit and I got behind in the English. That's why. Right? So my life wasn't over. And, and they say when you're a teen mom that, the chances are really great that your kid is also going to be a teen mom. No. Graduated from college, got her own business, living in LA, no babies, right? None. And I'm saying all that to say is that what I want to, really empower them. And then also, just let them know, not everybody knows shit, but let them know that your current circumstance does not define who you are. Your life is not over. It was an experience, right? And what you're going to do now, what you're going to do now, right? But also just the life skills, the helping them to tap into who they really are, right? Who are you? What are your desires? What are your heart's desires? How can you be supported, right? So I was like, that's it. That's my nonprofit. I'm bugging. I'm sitting there oh my God, I want to do this. Oh my God, I want to do that. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I was like, yo, what is it that you've always wanted to do? Do that shit. Do it. It might not look like how you thought it was going to look because you know what? Again, society put us into a box and made us look at it as a one way and a one way thing. And that was what for me was a group home, right? So when I was pregnant, fortunately with my ex-husband, his family was just like, like amazing. And they're really, really big. So when I had the baby shower at 17, they had threw a baby shower. Like, we ain't want for shit. We got everything. That family is huge. We got everything. So all of that stuff was taken care of. But when I think about it, I'm like, damn, I'm glad all that shit was taken care of, because how I was going to get that was working, but how was I going to pay for and to do all of that stuff, right? But it was the point of, and I probably have to do another podcast on this. I was 16 and pregnant, and nobody knew that I was pregnant until my 9th month. The only person that knew was her dad, my boyfriend. That's it. Nobody else knew until I was 9 months pregnant. And it was only because my mom bumped into me and she felt that my stomach was hard. She never said anything to me. Till this day, don't know why. She said something to him. She said, "Why didn't you tell me Tisha was pregnant?" He was like, "Oh, I didn't know." So she tricked him. That's how they knew. That's how. That's here. Not even my best friend, Gloria, which is his sister. She didn't even know. I was in school, everything, but I always dressed very well and had like all the designer stuff because my father, while he was in my life, made sure I had like all of that stuff. So I would have like, remember you like rocking like the overalls, the jumpers, I'd have that on and just wear like bigger clothes, but it was cool. You know what I mean? It was cool. So people just didn't even know. So when people talk about like, oh, you're so private, even my kids, like, you're so private and you don't tell people like your business. Like, yo, I always been like that, yo. Your girl over here was 16 and went through a whole goddamn pregnancy since she was 9 months and nobody knew, right? And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that it's like, yeah, we got all those things, but why did I not feel comfortable enough to talk to somebody about this? What was I really thinking when I was pregnant? What was going on in my mind? And I can tell you, I don't remember a time when I was younger and it was like, oh my God, I can't wait till I get older and I'm going to get married and I'm going to have this amount of kids and I'm going to do, I know if I ever had that thought, I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure I never said that. That's never something that crossed my mind or that I seeked out to do. Right. So, here I am not going through the whole time, no prenatal vitamins. I didn't take prenatal vitamins until I was in my 9th month. That's when I went to the doctor to start getting checked. The doctor was like, I don't know what you've been doing this whole time, but continue doing it. And I was like, grapes and vanilla nutriment. But, God had me. I might not have been thinking about that then. I was just I don't even know what I was thinking. So anyway, so let me bring it back. So the whole point of that is, what did I need when I was a pregnant teen mom, right? When I see teens now pregnant, like, everything just stops, especially if they're like the waitress, at the place. I give them extra money. I just sit there thinking, I'm like, I wonder if they have supports. I'm like, gosh, look how big her stomach is. And she still has to work here and do all of this. Like, did she finish school? What does she want to do? Is she with the dad? And all of those things. And I'm just like bummed out because I just want to like help them. And I'm like, well, what do I just roll to someone? So like, can I help you? You know what I mean? Like, so that's what I'm doing, guys. So again, ask yourself, what is something that you've always wanted to do? Do that shit. It might just look different, but that's okay. I've always wanted to have a group home, right? Because in my mind, that's what it was. But I want to be able to help pregnant teens, right? And that's what my nonprofit is, Heal, Align, and Glow, Inc. Hello. Always had LLCs, Inc. on this jank right here. Also, I want to bring inner healing to the jails. So what I would love to do is to go into the jails. And I know I can't go into everyone, right? I want to go into the jail and offer a program of the inner child healing with them. And then I was thinking, I need to think a little bit different. So I'm working on my book and it's for the Embrace, Nurture, and Heal Your Inner Child. And I want that book to be in all of the jails. Not that I want, it will be in all of the jails. So again, I don't need to be put into a container. I get to do what it is that I want to do. And those are two things that are very heavy and dear to me, is that I want to be able to bring that inner healing into people who are incarcerated. So they can also know that their life's not over. Their life's not over. And that current circumstance doesn't define who they are, right? So they can then make some better choices when they're out, or even better choices when they're in there, right? You can still be a leader in there. And I ain't talking about on some like I run this shit type thing, but like your voice, a calling, whatever, right? And then helping pregnant teens. So guys, this shit has always been with me. I'm 40 years old and I can probably go back to when maybe I was 19 or 20 the far as I can remember, is when I first said that, is what I wanted to do. And that's the one thing that I would always say is that I wanted to do. And guess what, guys? I'm doing it. So it's all in the works, now. But I wanted to end it with that because I want you guys to sit with that. What is something that you've always wanted to do? And once you can remember it or whatever, you probably like, oh, I already know what it is. Do it. Put some action to it. Do it. Your spirit guides, your guardian angels, whoever you're connecting to is going to help guide you. It's going to help bring it into fruition because those desires and those things that we want, it's already there. It's in our energetic field. It's just now up to us to bring it into the physical sense, right? And we do that by taking action, putting energy into something, and just know that we will be guided. So, all right. So we just been flowing now for 40 something, I don't even know, 50 minutes or whatever. As always, I appreciate you guys. Listening. I love when I get the feedback from you guys. I probably need to be a little better at maybe just sharing it. The world. A lot of it I don't share, even though I wouldn't show their name anyway. It's just still dear. Some of the things that you guys say to me, I know it's very dear and near, and I don't have to put everything onto social media. Some of those things I just keep for me. It really touches my heart, and just knowing that we're really resonating with each other and things that I'm saying is connecting and is helping you along in your process. Yeah. So again, my nonprofit is Heal, Align, and Glow, Inc. And I am going to be bringing this healing to the jail people in the jail system, but mainly it is working with teen moms. I'm in the process now of, I just connected with someone who's going to be helping me with the grant writing process because eventually, not only do I want to have a space, I'm going to be starting Arizona and Virginia, have a space for them to come to get this training and get this mentorship, not just with me, but with other people and stuff. Big goal is to actually really end up with a home so they can have somewhere to stay, right? To have somewhere to stay. So I will be putting that out there, to get grants and stuff. In the meantime, I am taking donations, guys. And you can write it off on your taxes. You know what I mean? So if that is something that you want to donate to Heal, Align, and Go nonprofit, let me know, and we can get that taken care of. But until next time, love you all. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to #certified. If anything resonated with you, I would love to continue the conversation. You can follow me on Instagram @itistisha. And if you want to be a part of the #certified tribe, you can join my Facebook group by going to the search tab and putting in #certified. My website is conversationswithtisha.com. As always, have a great one on purpose. Love you.